Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about the British Overseas Territories. It's a group of mostly islands that act independently from the mainland but are under the crown, and are basically leftover colonies from the days of the British Empire. The first one is the Peninsula of Gibraltar. Gibraltar was part of Spain from 1501, but during the War of Spanish Succession, the British occupied Gibraltar, and Spain ceded the peninsula to the British when Treaty of Utrecht was signed in 1713. The peninsula is also home to Europe's only monkeys, Akrotiri and Dekelia. Akrotiri and Dekelia are two peninsulas in Cyprus that are mostly military bases, but some peoples live here. Akrotiri and Dekelia are leftovers of the British Cyprus colony, but when Cyprus gained independence, Britain was allowed to keep Akrotiri and Dekelia. The territory serves an important role as a station for signals intelligence and provides a vital strategic part of the United Kingdom surveillance gathering network in the Mediterranean and the Middle East. The British Indian Ocean Territory, also known as the Chagos Archipelago. The British Indian Ocean Territory, as the name explains, it is a British territory in the Indian Ocean. It was a part of the Mauritius colony until 1963, when Mauritius gained independence, and because of the strategic location of the Chagos Archipelago, the USA wanted a military base on the islands. The British set Chagos Archipelago as a British territory, where the US could build a military base. The bad thing with the base is that people already lived on the Chagos Archipelago, so the British government shipped of the locals to Mauritius, where the locals are to this day. But Mauritius is not the locals' home, and they to this day hopes to one day get back to Chagos. Pitcairn Islands is a group of islands in the Pacific. With a population of 47, the islands has its own language called Pitcairn. The islands were discovered by a Portuguese sailor in 1606. There had been people who escaped bounty hunters in 1790. But Britain didn't make it a colony until 1902. Falkland Islands. Islas Malvinas is a group of islands close to Argentina and Antarctica. Falklands has a population of about 3,500 people. There are many penguins on the island. The islands has been a part of France, Spain and Britain, but Argentina has claimed the island since its independence. The Falkland Islands was invaded by Argentina in 1982. But Britain won the war and owns the islands to this day. South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands are a group of islands in the coast of Antarctica. The islands are home to 30 people. All of them live in the biggest island, South Georgia, and most of the people are scientists. Britain colonized the islands because to use them as whaling stations. The biggest towns are Grytviken, Husvik, Stromness, Leaf Harbor and King Edward Point. The Cayman Islands. It is believed that the first European to sight the islands was Christopher Columbus. On the 10th of May, England took control of the islands in 1606 with the Treaty of Madrid, but on the 22nd of June, 1863, the Cayman Islands was officially declared and administered as a dependency of the Crown Colony of Jamaica. The islands continued to be governed as part of the Colony of Jamaica until 1962, when they became a separate Crown Colony. After Jamaica became an independent Commonwealth realm, Bermuda. Bermuda is located in the far western Atlantic close to Virginia and Maryland. Bermuda was first colonized when a group of colonists on their way to America, when their ship crashed into the island, but the island was made an actual colony by the Virginia Company in 1612. The British Virgin Islands was first discovered by Christopher Columbus, and he claimed them for Spain, but later on they would be annexed by Denmark, Netherlands, France and Britain. Since the 1960s, the islands have diversified away from their traditionally agriculture-based economy towards tourism and financial services, becoming one of the wealthiest areas in the Caribbean. The Constitution of the Islands was amended in 1977 2004 and 2007, giving them greater local autonomy. Turks and Caicos Islands. The islands was discovered in 1512 by Europeans, but Britain was the first to claim the islands in 1783. In 1799, the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos was annexed by Britain and made into the Crown Colony of Bahamas, but in 1848 Turks and Caicos was made its own dependency. But in 1917 Canada offered the islands to become part of Canada, but Britain refused. So there was never a Canadian Hawaii. In 1960 the Turks and Caicos became its own crown colony when British Jamaica became independent. Anguilla was first colonized by English settlers from St. Kitts. In the early 1650s, Anguilla was administered by Great Britain until the early 19th century, when the island was incorporated, along with St. Kitts and Nevis, into a single British possession, which the inhabitants themselves opposed. Montserrat. Montserrat was first discovered in 1492 by Christopher Columbus, but Britain colonized the island in 1632 when a group of Irish escaped the anti-Catholic Saint Christopher and Nevis and settled on Montserrat, but during the American Revolution, France occupied Montserrat. Thanks for watching this video. Comment if you learned something new and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.